Hey, everybody, welcome back to Vision Pros Live. I'm your host and coach, Fletcher Ellingson. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're in this conversation. Why? Because on this podcast, we get to meet people from all over the globe who are chasing their visions, clarifying their visions, and bringing their visions into the physical realm. Our guest today is Tori Bjorklund, and he's the founder and CEO of Victorified Consulting. What does he do? We're going to get into that. But first, let's welcome our guest, Tori. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
You bet. Hey, before we get into what you do and who you help, I want to start off with a win, something that's going well. And this can be professionally, it can be personally, but there's a lot of suffering going on in the world. There's a lot of disappointment. There's a lot of
Yeah.
upset, discord. We want to remind people that there's still good happening and that we can be the cause in the matter of that good. So lay it on me. What's going well in your life?
Yeah, actually, I'll tell you two things. First of all, first thing that comes to my mind is that in spite of the fact that I'm in my 60s, I feel great. And I made a decision when I was 52 years old to start working out and lifting weights and things like that, which I'd never done prior to that. And so my health, I'm just really grateful to have great health. The second thing is Victorified is my seventh company. And frankly, it's the biggest struggle I've ever had in business. And so one might think that's not a win, but I'm learning so much more in this company than I ever have before in any of the previous companies I was involved in. So, it's great. I mean, it's a struggle. Fortunately, we're keeping the wolves away, but at the same time, I'm learning a ton.
Wow. I'm going to take a moment and just address a couple things you said. First of all, yeah, health. That saying, health is the first wealth. The older we get, the more we realize, like, oh, that's actually spot on. That's actually true.
Yeah.
So congratulations to you for taking on your health at that new level. I appreciate that because I'm in my mid 50s, and 2 years ago, I made that same commitment to take on my health at a new level. And so I've been in the gym for 2 years, working out, something I've never done. I never went to gyms.
Yeah.
I did other stuff, but gyms and lifting weights, wasn't into it, didn't like it. So it's been an area of personal growth for me too. And it took a while.
Yeah.
A good while, but I actually look forward to going to the gym now, which is like, I never thought
I'm not sure I'm there yet. But I love the results that it gets. So I look forward to the results. I don't look forward to being in the gym.
Yes. Gotcha. And secondly, you said, this is your seventh business and you're encountering some struggles. And this is an important thing to talk about because it's easy to talk about the wins. It's easy when you're winning, oh, life's great. But if you're running a business, there are struggles, there are challenges that we wish weren't there.
Yeah.
And like you said, you're learning a lot. It's causing evolution to occur. It's causing adaptation. It's causing growth. And yes, it can be uncomfortable. But I appreciate the fact that you brought that up because number one, it just shows authenticity, right? Things don't always go the way we planned. And to say that out loud and it just shows authenticity and creates trust. So nice. Tori, the show is called Vision Pros Live. And so we're curious here about people's vision. What's that clarified story that we're efforting to bring forth into the physical realm? And so I want to ask you if you'll share with us your vision.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I'll share it, but I'll need to give a little background after that. So I really want to change the way technology consulting is delivered in this world. I want to change the industry.
Mm.
It's broken. And I really think that we're on the verge of seeing that, in essence, consulting is dead. And people just haven't realized that yet. Now,
Okay.
I'll let you ask the questions and
Yeah,
to
yeah.
fill in a little context for that.
This is fascinating. Yeah. So what I heard you say is you want to change the way technology consulting occurs in our
Yeah.
world, and you see, for the most part, that it's going the way of doomsday. So tell me a little. Tell me what you mean about that.
Yeah. So there's a lot of consultants out there, both small and large. And one of the things, if you look at statistics, and of course, I think it was Mark Twain that said there are three kind of lies, lies, damn lies, and statistics. So you kind of have to take the statistics with a little bit of a grain of salt, and whose numbers you use is important. But the reality is that the buzzword today, digital transformation, implementation of technology that changes the way you do business, those projects fail at a rate of 70 to 90%, depending on whose statistics you use. Now, think about that. And we've all heard of really major failures and costly ones, and usually related to the government or something like that. But you think about a company that's, say, maybe doing 10, 15 million top line revenue annually, and they sink a couple million into a major initiative, and it fails. That jeopardizes that business. And this is happening over and over and over again. And I mean, if you're playing baseball, maybe 300 isn't a bad batting average. But if you're playing in the world of business, succeeding 30% of the time or less is catastrophic. And in no other industry would this be acceptable. I mean, if 70% of the bridges built out there missed the mark on, and we're 15 feet from the road or whatever, nobody would accept that. Yet this has been acceptable for many years and hasn't changed. Those numbers have been tracked since the late 80s, early 90s.
So those statistics are alarming. I mean, I did not know that. How can they be so high? I mean, seriously, like,
Yeah. And a part of that is, and to be fair, how you define success and how you define failure. The differences between what the vendors consider successful and what the clients consider successful is night and day. So the clients, if you ask them what does success mean, generally speaking, it's not just on time and in budget, but that's part of it, getting those projects done in that. But the other part of it is, hey, they did a whole bunch of thinking before they undertook this initiative. And they said, well, okay, it might cost us $2 million, but we expect this at the end of that. And that's going to make us money. Because really, that's the bottom line with a company. If it's not going to help you make money, you don't want to undertake it.
yeah.
And it's that part of it. Whatever they said they were expecting from it, they never get that. And when that never happens, they never get their investment back. That's failure. A vendor might say, well, we got you running on the software, but never delivered the expected benefit. The vendors will think it's successful and consider it a success. And in those numbers, 20% of them never even get going live. They abandon it before it's completed. So, and that's still way too high.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So some big challenges.
Yeah.
Enter Tori.
Well, in my team, Victorified in general. And yeah, so here's the thing. The way that we do consulting has to change. We have to focus on the benefit of the client first and foremost, making the client success our primary success. That's how we should measure success. And then the second thing is we got to quit telling the clients what they want to hear. We need to tell them what they need to hear in order to be successful. I mean, if you were a physician, let's say you're a surgeon, and somebody came in and needed to have some surgery, you wouldn't tell them, well, if you don't want to do this, you don't really have to do it if it really is a life-threatening situation. And vendors do that all the time. They tell the people what they think they want to hear, and the leadership of the client will often lean on them and say, oh, do we really have to do all this preparation? Let's just get this thing in and get it done. And they succumb to that. And they're getting paid a lot of money. Those vendors, those consultants are getting paid a lot of money per hour to be the expert. And instead of being the expert, they find themselves, being the cheerleader squad or something like that.
That's why I noticed on your website, one of your main pillars there is preparation, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, because companies are in a hurry to get the financial results.
Right. Yep.
So, yeah, and you're bringing up a couple things that, it's good for companies to hear this. This is a good conversation because, yeah, a lot of companies out there will tell you what you want to hear. You're saying like, look, we're not willing to do that because that's not in your best interest. We're going to tell you what you need to hear.
Right.
And we're going to take due diligence to prepare you to set you up for the type of success that you are expecting.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
How does that happen? What's the preparation phase look like?
Yeah. So the first thing is really defining the vision. And, that's really apropos to your podcast.
Yeah.
And you never do anything without vision, unless it's by happenstance and it happens to you. But you have to have a vision for something before you'll undertake it. One of the challenges is communicating that vision to the rest of the organization. There's all kinds of people that are going to use that technology that have no idea why you're doing what you're doing and why you're going to spend this money. And they'd rather just have a raise, just give me more money and I'll work harder, things like that. But that's not scalable. And so technology, meets objectives that makes the company better. And therefore, then the chances for those employees to succeed more. But they need to get that message, and it's not coming from leadership properly. The second thing about that is you've got to build the right team. You've got to recognize that experience in these kinds of initiatives is really, really important. And you got smart people working for you, but smart people that haven't ever done this, or maybe done it once and probably not very well, that's not going to cut it. You need to get the right people in place, and then you need to have the right plan to actually execute that, and a risk management plan around that. And then finally, you need to have what's called organizational change management, the idea of saying, what is going to get in the way of this change? What are the risks to our employees? What are they going to do to subvert it? Or, what do they need to succeed with this? What does the team need to succeed with this? And you get all of that figured out. And so now you're mitigating your risks. You're taking proactive stance on helping people get through the change and understand why the change is necessary. And then you execute on a project. I mean, a lot of people can do project execution. That's a very mature discipline today, is project management and project execution. But that aspect of the people and making sure you've got the right people in place and helping them make it through the change. And then finally, at the end, we call what we call sustain. The sustain stage is to help people really adopt what the new change is as the DNA of the company. Well, it's oftentimes, well, we've never done it this way, and that's that kind of fear, and uncertainty. And now at the end of having gone through that implementation, you need to make sure that your people are saying, this is the way we do it. And that's the assimilation of the change into the organization. So those are, I answered your question about preparation, but it's all the rest of it as well.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. So, yeah, this is not an overnight process.
No.
This is a large, large undertaking.
Yeah.
Um, how long does something like that take? I mean,
It varies a lot. It varies on and a matter of how complicated it is, how broad the scope is. I mean, if
yeah,
you're implementing a new ERP system, for example, I mean, that can be multiple years for a large company. You know, we work with companies that are, you know, have multi-billion dollar organizations. That can be multiple years. A smaller company, you know, we're in the middle of an implementation with a client that's about 50 million in top line revenue. You know, that can be 8, 9 months, you know, so it varies in the scope of what's happening.
yeah,
But the first thing often is it really only takes about a month to 2 months to really put together a solid plan for the preparation and implementation.
got it, got it. And this is, I'm glad we're having this conversation. We have lots of listeners who are in, you know, in those businesses 10 to 50 million, and so there are, you know, there are CEOs and managers listening to this, and they may have a jaded view about this. Maybe they've been through it
You
and been
probably,
abandoned it, like you said. Maybe they're, but what I want them to hear is it is possible, if you have the right team in place.
yeah.
And so if this is piquing your interest, then, you know, visit Tori's website and read about what they do. Look at some of the testimonials. What is give us the domain name for your website, please?
Yeah, it's victorified.com. Victoria, like the name, FIDE.com.
Okay, victorified.com. Go and check it out. If you want to have a conversation, obviously, I'm sure they can contact you via their website.
Absolutely.
Someone will contact you, and have some sort of discovery conversation. It may be the time. If you're listening to this, consider consider how serendipitous is that this is, that you're listening to this conversation, and this is what's needed in your company. Maybe this is the company to call. Maybe this is the moment where you take action. So visit them at victorified.com. And it may be your time to partner with this company and move the needle. I'm curious. Let's go back to what you said in the beginning. You talked about this is a challenging time for you.
Yeah,
This is a challenging business. Help me understand why. What's
sure.
going on, and what are you learning?
Yeah. So the first thing is marketing. Marketing has changed. You know, what used to work doesn't work. Most people in the marketing industry will tell you that. Um, I don't know what works, frankly. So I mean, I'm trying to build a business here and scale it out, and I'm finding the only thing that works right now is my personal networking, and that's always worked. That's never changed. It's just that's difficult to scale. I can only meet with so many people a week, you know, and so forth. So that's one thing, is getting that sales funnel built. This and second thing is really the messaging, and that's probably part of feeds into the sales funnel problems as well. The messaging, a lot of people are familiar with how consulting is done in the past, so they have presuppositions about what we do, and so we're not a very large organization. It's difficult to change the way people think unless you're a behemoth that can, you know, put a lot of money into marketing and messaging and so forth. You know, it reminds me of when I was in high school or junior high, and microwaves were first coming out. I mean, those companies that first were creating the microwave and selling that, they did a lot of work to get people used to the concept of nuking their food. And
Yeah,
if you were a small organization trying to get that into the market, you just wouldn't be able to do it. without those kind of resources. And that's part of what we're struggling with.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the
Yeah.
things we've done to try to mitigate that struggle is to give and it's unheard of, but to give a guarantee and say, hey, we will guarantee that you hit your objectives, or we'll be working with you to help you hit those objectives at our cost. Not, we'll come and basically share in the cost to get you to where you need to be. It's
Okay.
unheard
Wow.
of in the industry.
Yeah. Okay. Talk about a position of differentiation. Okay. That's something to to lead with for sure. Yeah, I'm glad that I'm glad that you just talked about that, because that's something that you just, like you said, there aren't other companies doing this. Let's talk about our guarantee. We're
Yeah,
guaranteeing that you are going to get your results, or we're going to share in the costs until you do.
right.
Really interesting. Got it. Got it. The sentiment that you just talked about as well, of like what is working in the area of marketing, I hear that all the time. And I talk with a lot of business people, a lot of business owners. I hear that so frequently. Like, which direction should we take for marketing? And but what I find interesting, and also continues to resound, is you're still playing the offline game of
Yeah,
personal networking.
yeah,
Networking. And that is also consistent with what I'm hearing from people. They're throwing money at advertising, and I'm not saying they shouldn't, because obviously there's some level of return. But what I hear consistently over and over and over, again, it's still this high level of offline marketing that is creating business,
yeah.
at least these long-term and big money types of relationships.
Right.
So, I mean, to your concern, I got to say, like, well, keep it up, because the offline game seems to be somewhat unique, where everyone's trying to win the online game. And if you're playing the offline game, that may be giving you some advantage. That's
Well,
just
I
my
think
2
it really
cents.
helps with closing, and we have a high close ratio, and then we have just super high, client satisfaction. Every one of our clients is referenceable. Um,
Right on.
the bottom line is, it is a challenge to scale that way.
Yeah, for sure. Um, our guest today is Tori Bjorklund. And if you're finding this interesting, if you're like I am, what I'm appreciating about Tony is his authenticity. He's not saying it's all roses here. He's like, this is real work, and it takes preparation. It takes time. He's not going to promise you, you know, pie in the sky here. Let's be realistic. So if you're looking to work with somebody who has that level of authenticity and who's willing to put a guarantee in an industry where that doesn't exist, if you're curious about this, reach out, have the conversation. Any last words before we wrap this up, Tori?
I would say that, I guess the last thing I would probably emphasize is that in the industry today, with AI and other things going on, being able to pivot and change rapidly is becoming an imperative in business. And frankly, the industry hasn't figured it out yet. The technical industry has not figured out how to make our clients agile in these areas, and with major technical initiatives. And I believe we have. And so, if you're worried about that, and you're worried about being able to, not only what you need to do now, but how are we going to become the kind of organization that can be agile and change and adapt quickly as all of this technology just is accelerating. You need to get your company equipped for change. And that's really what we're about.
I like that. I'm going to put my own spin on that. Because what I heard you say is if you're a company that's concerned about remaining relevant,
Yeah,
then let's have a conversation, right?
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Really good. Really good. Thanks so much for being on our show today.
Yeah. Thank
Appreciate,
you.
appreciate your time, appreciate your expertise. And now it's time for you all to get out there, be a source of kindness, be a source of contribution. You do have something to offer this world, and I believe in you.
Thank you for being here today. I'm really happy that you tuned in to Vision Pros Live. I'm looking forward to seeing your reactions as these episodes continue to move forward. This is going to get more and more fun. We'll have more and more engagement as well. We'll invite people to participate in the show. And thank you for giving us your time and attention. Have an excellent time building out your vision and becoming a Vision Pro yourself.